What is up, guys? Tyson De La Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Today is January 27th, 2025, and we are in the atmosphere right now. We got a lot of stuff going on. Donald Trump said promises made, promises kept, and he's sticking to his word. If you're catching this on the live, come on in, come on in. What is up, everybody? We'll do a quick roll call here in a minute. If you're catching this on the replay, type in replay in the comment section down below. We got a lot. We're going to talk about these tariffs that hit Colombia. J.D. Vance's first interview. We got Tom Homan doing episodes of Cops with Dr. Phil. Oh, man, we got some crazy stuff going on. It has been a fantastic week, fantastic weekend. Hope your guys' weekend was amazing. What is up, Rob? Gina in the house. Gina in the house. What is up? Who else we got up in here? Simply Serene. What's going on? Stephanie. Stephanie in the house. Shout out to Stephanie. Michael, what is going on, my man? Central Illinois in the house. Let's go. Let's go. All right. So we had DT. He's sending folks back. He said, listen. You send some bad people over, hombre, and we're gonna send them back. Meanwhile, while he was sending them back, Colombia said, no, we're not taking the flights. We're not taking the flights. And then Donald Trump said, listen, man, you're taking the flights. You're taking the flights. What is up, Michelle? Hope you're doing amazing. Hope you had a great weekend, Michelle. What is up, Steph? Let's jump into this real quick. Where is this at? Here it is, right here. This is how I would perceive the conversation would go with Mr. Gustavo. Okay, Gustavo and President Donald Trump.
Hola, Gustavo. It's me, your favorite president, President Donald J. Trump. How's it going down there? You keeping things under control? Yeah, I didn't think so. Listen, we need to talk. Here's the deal, El Gustavo. You've got a little problem, actually a big problem. A lot of people, your people, are heading north. And let me tell you, we're not exactly thrilled about it. I mean, I'm sure they're great folks, some of them, but we can't keep taking them in. You sent over all the nasty ones, very nasty ones. It's like having a neighbor who borrows your tools and never gives them back. You know what I mean? So here's what we're going to do. You're going to step up. You're going to handle this, because if you don't, I'm cutting off the aid. All of it. No más dinero. That's Spanish for no more money. You get it, right? I'm a reasonable guy. The best negotiator, actually. Everyone says so. So here's your chance to shine, Gustavo. Show me you can handle this. Use your plane, your presidential plane, for deportation flights. Think about it. It's efficient, it's classy, and it sends a message that Colombia means business. Now, I'll be honest with you. I wasn't sure you'd step up. I told my team, this guy Petro, I don't know if he's got it in him, but surprise me, Gustavo. Prove me wrong. Make me proud. All right, Gustavo, I'm going to let you get back to whatever it is you were doing. Probably something less important than this call, let's be honest. But remember, I'll be watching. Don't let me down.
And he did all this while he was on a golf course. He punked the crap out of Mr. Gustavo. If you guys aren't privy with the situation, Trump issued emergency tariffs, 25% going up in increments over the course of a time frame until Colombia says, hey, we'll accept them.
And we are starting to see him use them as a sort of stick to try to get countries to do the U.S.'s bidding. Fred.
Okay, Steve Contorno, thank you so much. We'll check back with you. So all of these policies are already deterring some migrant groups from continuing their journey to the U.S. as well. CNN correspondent Rafael Romo is joining me now with details on that. Before we get to that, Rafael, I know you've been in contact with a number of people in Colombia, not necessarily in the last few minutes that this just happened, but in general, the kinds of imports that would come from Colombia to the U.S. involves food. Yeah, and the tariffs then being imposed near immediately, according to, Trump's directive here, would mean any kinds of products would cost more to Americans.
That's
from
right.
Colombia.
There's a very long commercial relationship between the two countries. And as far as I can remember, in the last few decades, the relationship has been very good. We're talking about a lot of agricultural products, bananas, a lot of tropical fruits that we consume in the United States that come from Colombia. And so if you start seeing the beginning of a trade war between the two countries, is going to affect not only Colombia as a producer, but also a lot of consumers here in the United States. Now, when you look at this.
So the situation was Trump had everybody on the plane. They were heading back to Colombia. Gustavo said, no, we're not taking them back. We're not taking them back. Trump said, listen, hombre, listen, hombre, okay? Listen, you're no longer the hombre, okay? And he said, we're going to start implementing these tariffs, 25, 50, 50, 55, 60, until you take these folks back. And guess what? Within 30 minutes, the deal got done. The deal got done. Gustavo said, hey, you're right, my man. You're right.
This whole issue, you need to look at the numbers. Facts first. During its first week in office, the Trump administration has arrested just over 1,400 undocumented immigrants. At least those are the figures that were publicly released by authorities on January 23rd, 24th, and 25th. During the same period, Fred, an additional 1,243 undocumented migrants already detained in jails around the country have been identified for removal. But U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement data shows the total of removals for last year was over 271,000, which means during President Biden's last year, the average was more than 5,000 deportations per week, compared to 2,600 this past week. Regardless of the pace of removals, their rhetoric is already having an impact.
Okay, now they're going to go into the rhetoric. I already watched this video, but they're going to go into the rhetoric because it's CNN. CNN, your views are tanking. Your views are tanking. What is up, Michelle? Hope you're doing amazing. Michelle says, I'm so happy Daddy is home. Absolutely. Daddy is home. Big time, big time. Gustavo refuses military birds. Yep. So sorry, Gustavo. So sorry, Gustavo. No welfare for you. So farewell. Catherine said, the U.S. should allow fruit trees to grow here. I think so too. We have some good soil. We have some good soil. We have some good farmland. The only Colombian product crossing the border should be coffee beans. Oh, man. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I won't let CNN accidentally play in the house for sure. CNN, no Moss views for CNN. No more Moss. So here's what Scott Jennings had to say. I do like Scott Jennings on CNN. I do. CNN, thoughts on Trump giving this F around and find out. We'll get into that meme here in a minute, but Trump said F around and find out.
Trump had to resort to these tariffs and sanctions and punishments today is because the president of Colombia refused to accept a flight of migrants. He said he wouldn't take them. Donald Trump said, we're going to enter the F around and find out portion of this conversation. And he hit him with sanctions and tariffs. And now tonight, the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, says Congress is going to back him up on that. He's putting Colombia, he's putting the rest of this hemisphere on notice that you are not dealing with the same president that you were. You're dealing with someone who is taking illegal immigration seriously. Now, within an hour of making that threat, the president of Colombia said, whoa, 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 I'll send my own plane to pick these people up. So obviously, he got their attention. And they'll have learned a valuable lesson that Donald Trump is taking immigration, illegal immigration, seriously. This is real leadership, but it sends a message to everybody else in the hemisphere. Do not test us. This is not Biden and Harris. This is Trump and Vance. We mean business. Yeah, of course it is. And
Trump said, I mean business. And he was doing all this while he was golfing. He was doing this while he was golfing. The White House released a statement. Let me pull this up here. The White House released a statement. The government of Colombia has agreed to all president's terms, including unrestricted accepted illegal aliens from Colombia returning from the United States, including U.S. military aircrafts, without limitation or delay. Based on this agreement, the fully drafted EPA tariffs and sanctions will be held in reserve and not signed. This happened within the hour. Not within this hour, but yesterday evening. Crazy. This is how you get stuff done. This is how you get stuff done. Trump posted this on Truth Social. He posted this meme that was going viral. Him in like an Al Capone outfit with a sign in the back that says F around and find out. Oh, what is up, Thomas? What's up, Thomas? He said the phone call. Yeah, the phone call was hilarious. Yeah. Johnny Sunglasses said Scott Jennings is turning into the Tom Homan of media. Yeah, he's deporting all those liberals on CNN. He's the only thing that I think personally that's keeping that network afloat. Jim Acosta got downgraded to the graveyard shift. I can't even remember the last time I saw Jim Acosta on a primetime, aside from the other day when he got roasted. But Dennis says, come on. Nope. Do not come on. Gustavo says our people need to be returned with dignity on an airliner. Yep. Catherine says, just watch how much cheaper things get. No more slipping into the third world country. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This right here, this, whether Caroline Leavitt made this or some of the media team, but he immediately posts this. He says, F around and find out. Gina says he's the biggest gangster America's ever saw. Michelle, our president has a great sense of humor. That he does. He does. And he was doing this while he was on the golf course. Here's some footage of him on the golf course. He comes back from shooting 18 holes.
We love you. We love you. We are your members.
Mr. Trump, a picture.
We love you.
Picture, Mr. Trump, picture.
Can you imagine that? The dude out-dealed you while he was on the 10th hole. He out-dealed you. He said, listen, all your hombres are coming back. All of them are coming back. We need it. We need it because the people that they let in over the last 4 years is absolutely ridiculous. Crime skyrocketed. They're not good people. They're nasty people. Oh, man. All right. We got, we have this right here. Texas governor praises Donald Trump admin for swiftly handling the border crisis. And, this is the most fascinating thing to me. This guy, it's been a week. Let's just say 6 days, because day one. He spent most of the time at the inauguration process. Michelle says, amen. Amen, Gina. He spent most of that day in the inauguration. Meanwhile, Joe Biden's pardoning everybody. Just giving out pardons like they're coupons. And then day two, they immediately took down ground zero in specific sanctuary cities to find these folks from Tren de Aragua. Hard to believe, Patrick Kennedy says, hard to believe it's only been a week. Yeah, can you believe it?
Futures exclusive is the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott. Governor, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, Maria.
Have you seen a change? Tell us what has happened since President Trump was sworn in as our 47th president.
Maria, I don't think there's ever been a more sudden and swift change in any government operation than under President Trump when he took the oath of office. I would say overnight, but on the first hour of his tenure as president, we saw the change where there were military sent to the border. The military were blocking people from crossing the border illegally. The numbers of people who crossed on the 19th of January dropped dramatically on the 20th of January. They have continued to drop, and every single day, President Trump, working with Tom Homan, they've been deporting people to the countries they came from. But to show how Texas is a partner in all this process, on the hour that President Trump took office, Texas was deploying more buoys in the Rio Grande to deter and deny illegal entry into the country. The change, Maria, is this. We suddenly now have a commander-in-chief who cares about national security, who cares about securing the border, who's going to enforce the law. And importantly, he has a governor in a state in Texas that will be a partner with the Trump administration. We will assist in the arrest, the detention, and the deportation of people coming across the border illegally.
And deportations are now well underway. Some have been put on planes. Are they going back to Mexico? Where are you sending them? Give us a sense of the practical process that is happening right now.
So hundreds up to close to 1,000 are being sent back across the border on a daily basis under the Trump administration. Some are going to Mexico. Others, you will see flights that are going to Guatemala and some other Central American countries. And the Trump administration is going to be sending them back to their home countries and demanding compliance by these countries that they take back the people who have crossed the border illegally. And know this, and that is right now, I would say there's two categories of people that the Trump administration is sending back. One, they're trying to go after those who are public safety threats, who are criminals, as well as national security threats. Remember, under Joe Biden, they allowed into the United States people who are on the terrorist watch list. And the Trump administration is seeking out and trying to find them and deport them. And then the other that they're sending back is that, listen, those people who think they can cross the border and stay here in the country illegally now, those days are gone. If anybody apprehended coming across the border is going to be sent back immediately.
Isn't it unbelievable? Texas is now a partner to the federal government as opposed to being an enemy, which certainly is what it looked like under the Biden team. But let me get your take on this 300,000 children that were lost under the Biden-Harris administration. Fox News reported this week, Harris Faulkner reported that the Trump team has now located some of those children.
So listen, it's almost criminal what Joe Biden did, allowing all these children to come in and then losing them, putting those children at risk. Who knows how many of those children were child sex trafficked or harmed in some other way. And you got to hand it to the Trump administration for quickly locating them, identifying them, and work to ensure that their safety. And here again, it's a night and day difference between the Trump administration and the Biden administration. We now have a commander-in-chief in office who's going to ensure the safety of people in the country, whether it be these young kids who are trafficked into our country, or everyday Americans and communities that are having to deal with the consequences of Joe Biden's open border policies.
What about those Venezuelan gangs, Tren de Aragua, that was causing such havoc? Do you believe, Governor, that we will see a change in crime? The attacks that we're seeing across the country in places like big cities like New York, do you believe in the coming months that will will move the needle as a result of what you all are doing in Texas?
So it's actually already begun. So what we did in Texas, I signed a law and then implemented the law declaring Trinidad and Aragua as a foreign terrorist organization. And for the past year, Texas has been working with federal, state, and local authorities to arrest and jail Trinidad and Aragua members here in the state of Texas. What Trump will do is apply that same strategy. He's already either done it or said he's going to do it, declare Trinidad and Aragua as a foreign terrorist organization under the federal law, which is even more powerful. And what Trump wants to do is to go after organizations like that, which is the largest, most deadly and consequential foreign terrorist organization, and make sure that we put them out of business. And the way we put them out of business is to put them behind bars.
Well, we're all feeling a lot better.
They're going behind bars. They are going behind bars. Catherine says, they act like Mexicans didn't vote for President Trump. An absolute lie. Yeah, it's crazy to me that some of the leftist media are just spewing. They're just vomiting this rhetoric again. This rhetoric that, you know, Hispanics didn't vote for Trump, and they're deporting black people. I'm like, dude, no, they're taking care of the criminals that came here illegally. These people that are the R word, they've been EX trafficking children. These are the people that are getting taken care of. Gina says, I don't mind him golfing. Yeah, I don't either. I don't mind, dude. If he can close a deal while he's golfing or eating a chicken sandwich, I'm good with it. I don't mind him golfing. I think it's badass how he can golf and make moves for us at the same time. Yep, absolutely, Gina. Absolutely. Gina says, finally, a border patrol that can actually do their job. Yeah. For the past 4 years, they just opened up the gate. They said, hey, come on in. Come on in. We'll give you the free CB1 app. You can book your flight over the phone. You can book your transportation, and then we'll give you a free phone. We'll give you EBT. We'll give you housing. All that stopped day one. Promises made, promises kept. Patrick says, that's right, Gina. We still have hundreds of thousands of people waiting for legal migration through paperwork and paying fees. Yeah, I'd mentioned this before. My mom is going through this process, and it's it's a lot of money, and it's time consuming. And for those people that are coming here legally, I can visibly tell you, like through my mom, my mom's like, these people just come, they get all this free stuff. They get free stuff, and they came in here illegally, and it messes with the psyche of people that are doing this legally. Speaking on behalf of the great majority of Colombians here, we despise the illegitimate narco-terrorist Gustavo, Petro. So there you have it, guys. The person's directly from Colombia. 86K children already, thank God. Yep. You set up the right people to do the jobs that need to be done, and they don't need to babysit them. Then you can focus on setting up deals. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Patrick Kennedy. Patrick Kennedy in the house, man. And you can have the Easter Bunny handler for Biden, shuffling him around. Is the audio good? Hold on. Somebody said the audio's... Oh, it looks good. Looks good. Okay, let's see. I'm just making sure that I'm on the chat. Shout out to the chat, by the way. The chat in the house. All right. We have ICE targeting operations in Chicago. Chicago has been ground zero. They started with this, and they're going after those folks in Chicago.
ICE agents have been showing up to multiple places around the city of Chicago. Fox 32's Nate Rogers joins us now with more details on the agency's operations. Nate.
Absolutely, Tia and Dan. Good evening to the both of you. The border czar was in Chicago today. Tom Homan visiting various neighborhoods, according to sources. Agents were spotted in Albany Park, Garfield Park, also right here in South Shore. As ICE has confirmed operations beginning today. We spoke to many residents who say they're now on edge.
Ugh.
They noticed us because we kept an eye on them.
Federal agents surrounding a home here at 99th and Commercial. It happened early this afternoon.
It was about, like 5 unmarked cars. And at first, I thought it was just the police. And then they all just came out. And then I seen his badge, and I was like, oh, wait, it's really ICE.
Why is they putting them in a car with handcuffs on?
This Citizen App video showing more agents in Garfield Park. On X today, ICE saying they're, quote, conducting enhanced targeted operations in Chicago, enforcing immigration law, preserving public safety and national security by keeping potentially dangerous criminal aliens out.
No one opened the door, luckily. Yeah. But they were out here, like 5 minutes, if that, and then other police officers pulled up, and then everyone just scattered.
Also on X, Mayor Johnson.
You know what I don't get? She just said nobody opened the door, luckily. Nobody opened the door, luckily, right? Because Brandon Johnson's over here saying, we received reports that ICE enforcement activity in Chicago today. Please know that Chicago police are not involved. Brandon Johnson saying this, right? Mind you, Chicago, sanctuary city. My team and I are working closely with city's officials. It's important for everyone to understand their rights so you can access the Know Your Rights Resources Guide in Chicago. This is a horrible move by Mr. Mayor Brandon Johnson. You know, aside from peddling these communities for money during election season, they haven't seen them since this. Now they're over here knocking doors and telling Chicago residents to access the Know Your Right Resources Guide on chicago.gov. That, my friends, is criminal, at least in my opinion.
Saying CPD was not involved and his team is working closely with officials. A top police source telling Fox 32, although CPD was informed of general locations for the operations, there is no collaboration. CPD is not given specific addresses, names, or violations.
I voted for President Trump. I like President Trump. I like his ideas. But I think on this issue, if anyone deserves papers, it's these people that have been here a long time and they're working and they are paying their taxes.
Back here in South Chicago, it's unknown who agents were looking for. Jesus Gonzalez has lived on the block 30 years. He says his neighbors are great.
They're targeting the wrong people. People are afraid to go out. People are afraid to go to work. That's not right. That's not what America's about. America's about living the dream.
And tonight, Fox News is reporting, according to Border Czar Tom Homan, multiple national security threats, quote, were taken off the streets right here in Chicago, including aggravated sex offenders and convicted murderers. Also, Mayor Johnson wants to assure everyone knows and understands their rights. The Know Your Rights Resource Guide can be found online at chicago.gov. Report.
Stacey said it right here. She said, well, if you're working and paying your taxes, get your green card, right? It's funny how they interview these folks and they cut this in and they say, hey, people are afraid to go out. No. Listen, Listen, if you ain't doing nothing wrong, you ain't afraid to go outside. That's just what it is. If you're not doing anything wrong or haven't done anything wrong, you're not afraid of a door knock, you're not afraid of getting pulled over, you're not afraid of any of that as long as you got everything lined up. Sounds to me like a majority, this neighborhood, I don't know where this particular neighborhood was, but it sounds to me like a majority of these illegal migrants are in this area. And a lot of them have previous convictions. So, of course, you're going to be scared to go outside. Patrick Kennedy says, I hope when things start getting better for Chicagoans, they realize why it got better. They've been under oppression of the corrupt libtards for so long. They have Stockholm Syndrome. Stockholm is... Oh, man, that's funny. Brandon treats people as Chicago horribly. It's absolutely criminal. No more lawlessness at the border. If America falls, as many countries will suffer too. No words other than no one wants this crazy standard. Absolutely. Absolutely. My man, I'm not even sure how to say this name. I don't want to butcher the name. Ignacio. I said it. Boom. Did I say it right? Ignacio. Cable and satellite television TV companies in Colombia come with CNN in the package. That needs to be addressed. Yep. There are a lot of people, there are a lot of patriots now here defending Trump, but the disinformation war is on. And we're seeing that all across the globe right now. Michelle says, how can they be paying into taxes if they are not citizens of the United States? They would have Social Security card numbers to pay taxes if they're not citizens. So sometimes they can get either fake socials or sometimes these companies hire undocumented folks. They still take out Social Security benefits if they're a legitimate company. But when the individual's older, they won't be able to take out the Social Security because they don't have legalized papers to receive the benefits once they're done. I think, honestly, the best thing to do is just I think it was Stacy that said, you know, if you're paying taxes, work on becoming a legal citizen, period. End of story. Awesome. Ignacio. That's an Italian accent, but sorry. Yeah, it's crazy to me that Brandon Johnson's doing this here. And then we have Trump's border czar in Chicago oversees criminal migrants. Him and Dr. Phil are on like a cop. They're creating like a cops episode here.
Carrying out its first nationwide operation under the Trump administration, resulting in over 1,000 arrests. Arrests happening in multiple states, from New York to California and Illinois to Colorado. The arrests come as the Trump administration is moving rapidly to fulfill its promise to launch an historic mass deportation operation. Chicago's governor says he, too, wants violent criminals out of the country, but he's raising concerns about how the administration is carrying things out.
And I've said many times, violent criminals who are undocumented in this country should be deported. There is a federal law that allows that deportation. But when we're talking about undocumented people who have been living law-abiding lives and raising families in the United States, we need comprehensive immigration reform. We need to give them an opportunity to stay in this country legally.
This all comes as President Trump's border czar Tom Homan is now on the ground in Chicago to oversee the arrests himself. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Anna Koyman in New York City. It's Sunday, the 26th of January, 3 o'clock on the East Coast. And it's time for News Nation Now. We do have so much to cover today, so we're going to get right to that breaking news on Trump's immigration enforcement plans. And News Nation's Mills Hayes is live there for us in Chicago. What can you tell us about the scale of these operations and the specific criteria being used to identify these individuals who are being arrested?
Hey, Anna. Well, Chicago has some of the strongest sanctuary city protections, which prevent city police officers from cooperating with immigration agents. And border czar Tom Homan is in the Windy City this weekend, working with other federal agencies to make good on his promise of mass deportations. But Homan wasn't alone today. Acting Deputy Attorney General Emil Bove was also in Chicago on Sunday to see firsthand the operations. Federal agencies like the FBI, DEA, ATF, and the U.S. Marshals are all working with the Department of Homeland Security. The Deputy Attorney General said in a statement, "We will support federal, state, and local levels who join this critical mission to take back our communities. We will use all available tools to address obstruction and other unlawful impediments." The city of Chicago and its mayor, Brandon Johnson, have been adamant about the city's sanctuary city status. Democratic City Alderman Raymond Lopez slammed Johnson for his position earlier.
He's not concerned about the long-term undocumented Mexican immigrants that are here who've been waiting for a path to come out of the shadows. He's not concerned about the dreamers who have higher standards than even asylum seekers for how they have to behave in communities. He openly welcomes the city of Chicago to the asylum seekers that have come here over the last 4 years, spending $600 million to meet their every whim and need while neglecting his own African-American communities on the South and West Side.
What? Take somebody out of the box to say what's facts here.
Earlier.
He's not concerned about the long-term undocumented Mexican immigrants that are here who've been waiting for a path to come out of the shadows. He's not concerned about the dreamers who have higher standards than even asylum seekers for how they have to behave in communities. He openly welcomes the city of Chicago to the asylum seekers that have come here over the last 4 years, spending $600 million to meet their every whim and need while neglecting his own African-American communities on the South and West Side.
$600 million for illegal migrants while neglecting his own people in Chicago. Criminal. Patrick and bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when ICE comes for you?
And Anna, a surprising guest with border czar Tom Homan today, Dr. Phil. The reality star took to X to say that he was embedded with the border czar for ICE operations here in Chicago. We have also reached out about embedding with ICE and are hoping that they will get back to us. Anna?
Yeah, of course, we want to see how everything's going down, too. How are immigrant rights groups reacting to all this, Mills?
Well, you can imagine they're not happy right now, and they say that many undocumented migrants are avoiding going to work because they don't want to get rounded up by ICE. And on Saturday, several immigrant rights groups sued ICE seeking an injunction prohibiting certain types of immigration raids in Chicago. Vice President J.D. Vance was on CBS News this morning defending the Trump administration's decision to allow ICE agents in churches, hospitals, and schools.
If you had a violent murderer in...
I'm going to jump into that interview right now, but why can't individual states sue sanctuary cities for compromising national security in violation of federal law? I think they might be doing that next. They're trying to protect these folks. They're getting federal funding. The gentleman just nailed it right on the head. My mind said it right there. $600 million for illegal migrants. Meanwhile, some of his communities in Chicago are in shambles. And they're going to continue to break down. They're going to continue to reap this devastation of this. And then what happens then? Long term, then the city takes back the housing because they either claim eminent domain on the properties or say that it's not in livable condition. And then they get more federal funding to build Chicago 2.0 or whatever the situation is. Let's jump into this interview with J.D. Vance here. Where is it at? Oh, that's the next one. But ICE arrests worst criminals in a 3-day blitz campaign. Here we go.
Vox, thanks again for always joining us. Sunday edition continues to carry on. I'm your host, Mike Pace. Always great to be with you. The borders are for the White House.
Hold on. My mind says this. Why the hell did they buy? What the hell did they buy with those $600 million? Because Chicago looks like shit. Okay? Looks like crap. Exactly, man. Exactly.
Tom Homan says that you can expect weekly increases of migrant arrest here. That news being made earlier today. The borders are Tom Homan warning that daily deportation numbers are set to rise in the coming weeks as President Trump's administration begins to expand its operations. Homan made the comment during a Sunday appearance on ABC News' This Week with host Martha Raddatz. The border chief says the administration is currently only targeting violent illegal aliens, but that will soon change. You're going to see the number steadily increase, the number of arrests nationwide, as we open up more operations, he said. Right now, it's concentrating on public safety threats, national security threats. That's a smaller population. So we're going to do this on a priority basis. That's President Trump's promise. But as that operation opens, there will be more arrests nationwide. When you talk about the aperture opening, the estimates of those who have been convicted or arrested in the past are 700,000 to over 1 million. So after you do all that, then you go after everybody who is here illegally, Raddatz asked. If you're in the country illegally, you're on the table because it's not okay to, violate the laws of this country. You got to remember, every time you enter this country illegally, you violated a crime under Title VIII, the United States Code 1325. It's a crime, Homan responded. So if you're in a country illegally, you got a problem. And that's why I'm hoping those who are in the country illegally, who have not been ordered or removed by a federal judge, they should just leave right now. The statement comes after Homan warned sanctuary cities across the U.S. that their policies will not prevent deportations and will instead endanger communities, federal agents, and illegals. Sanctuary cities are defined by a policy of not turning over illegals to federal authorities when they are arrested.
That's crazy to me. That is absolutely crazy to me. Sanctuary cities are defined. Once illegal migrants are arrested, they don't turn them over to the correct authorities. Patrick Kennedy says, with the beat right there, dun 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 dun, ice, ice, baby. Oh, man. Not one of those people ever went through due process. Okay, so she's talking about the insurrection.
Illegal migrants.
All right, let's jump into this J.D. Vance interview here. I'm not going to play the full portion of this. I'm going to jump to 2 minutes. Here we go.
Recruitment goals by tens of thousands of soldiers, and already recruitment is starting to pick up because Pete Hegseth is fundamentally a warfighter's leader at the Department of Defense. He is a guy who sees not through the perspective of the generals or the bureaucrats. He looks at things through the perspective of the men and women that we send off to fight in our wars.
Both the Wall Street Journal and the National Review, conservative publications, as you know, have been critical of Tulsi Gabbard. The Review called her an atrocious nominee who deserves to be defeated. They compared her defense of Edward Snowden, the fugitive who stole U.S. secrets, to an attorney general who thinks the mob gets a bad rap. Her refusal to accept U.S. intelligence findings that Assad gassed his own people, they said, was like a nominee for OMB director not being able to count. Does any of this give you pause putting her in charge of the U.S. intelligence community? Yes or no?
No, Margaret, look, these are publications that attacked Donald J. Trump obsessively, but those publications don't determine who the president is, the
And
American
ultimately
people
supported
do.
him.
And Donald J. Trump is the person who determines who his cabinet is, not these publications that I think, frankly, have lost relevance.
The Senate
here's
will
Tulsi
ultimately
Gabbard's.
decide.
Well, the Senate will provide advice and consent, as is its constitutional obligation, but I feel confident that Tulsi Gabbard will ultimately get through. Two things that are important to know about Tulsi. First of all, she is a career military servant who's had a classification at the highest levels for nearly 2 decades. She has impeccable character, impeccable record of service. And she also is a person who I think is going to bring some trust back to the intelligence services. The bureaucrats at our intelligence services have gotten completely out of control. They've been part of the weaponization of our political system, the weaponization of our justice system. We need to have good intelligence services who keep us safe. But part of that is restoring trust in those services, and we think Tulsi is the right person to do it. That's
She
why
doesn't
the
trust
president.
those intelligence services.
She recognizes that the bureaucrats have gotten out of control, and we need somebody there who's going to rein them in and return those services to their core mission of identifying information that's going to keep us safe.
You campaigned on lowering prices for consumers. We've seen all of these executive orders. Which one lowers prices?
We have done a lot, and there have been a number of executive orders that have caused already jobs to start coming back into our country, which is a core part of lowering prices. More capital investment, more job creation in our economy is one of the things that's going to drive down prices for all consumers, but also raise wages so that people can afford to buy the things that they need. If you look at our slate of executive orders, no, Margaret, prices are going to come down, but it's going to take a little bit of time, right? The president has been president for all of 5 days. I think that in those 5 days, he's accomplished more than Joe Biden did in 4 years. It's been an incredible breakneck pace of activity. We're going to work with Congress. We're, of course, going to have more executive orders, and we're going to try the way that you lower prices is that you encourage more capital investment into our country. And you ask specifically, what executive order is going to help lower prices? All of the stuff that we've done on energy, to explore more energy reserves, to develop more energy resources in the United States of America. One of the main drivers of increased prices under the Biden administration is that we had a massive increase in energy prices. Donald Trump has already taken multiple executive actions that are going to lower energy prices, and I do believe that means consumers are going to see lower prices at the pump and at the grocery store, but it's going to take a little bit of time. Rome wasn't built in a day, and while we've done a whole lot, we can't undo all of the damage of Joe Biden's presidency in 4 days.
Well, there are a lot of things that contributed to higher energy prices, and there was record oil and gas production.
Yes, Joe Biden did many terrible things to lead to an increase in prices. I agree, Margaret.
No, but all the things you experience at the grocery store are what people touch and feel. That's what you were talking about, bacon on the campaign trail.
Of course.
My mind says 334.9 million people live in America. With 600 million, you can give each 1 million and you'll still have half the money left over.
Of course.
Those things, when do consumers actually get to touch and feel a difference in their lives?
Well, Margaret, how does bacon get to the grocery store? It comes on trucks that are fueled by diesel fuel. If the diesel's way too expensive, the bacon's going to become more expensive. How do we grow the bacon? Our farmers need energy to produce it. So if we lower energy prices, we are going to see lower prices for consumers, and that is what we're trying to fight for.
Well, the flurry of executive orders, most of them weren't about the economy. Many of them
were, though, Margaret. We had, I think we've
a
taken
promise
over
of tariffs by February 1st.
We've taken over 200 executive actions, some executive orders, other executive actions. Again, this is in less than a week, and a lot of them were focused on the economy, bringing investment into our country and lowering energy prices. We've also focused on safety, restoring public safety, ending weaponization of the Department of Justice. We've done a lot. And I think the president is to be commended for actually coming in and doing something with this incredible mandate the American people gave him. He's not sitting in the Oval Office doing nothing. He's doing the American people's business. And I think they're going to see a lot of good effects from it.
Well, a lot of these announcements have yet to take effect.
Sure.
The president did say he wants to do something with an executive order in relation to federal emergency response. He said he may reform or eliminate FEMA. Instead of sending emergency responders, he may start to send a percentage of money to states to take care of themselves. But,
Exactly.
FEMA has specialized expertise that some of these states just don't have.
Oh, well, then they need to implement some of those individuals. Just like when he was in California and he was, roughing up the mayor and Gavin Newsom. Some of these monies, these federal aid monies that go and get distributed to these states, they need to be allocated to an individual that can oversee some of these funds, because I think there's a lot of ridiculous spending that goes to other things that aren't the actual cause, or aren't the actual things for preventative measures. Excuse me.
In their arsenal, and
I wish
how
that they
will states who are lower income states, the Mississippis, the Kentuckys, the Alabamas, be able to do this for themselves without federal help?
Well, the president, to be clear, is not saying we're going to leave anybody behind. He's saying that in the way that we administer these resources, some of which is coming from the federal level, some of which is coming from the state level, we've got to get the bureaucrats out of the way and get the aid to the people who need it most.
But these
Let's
are the
be
first
honest,
responders.
Margaret, you talk about the expertise from FEMA. FEMA in North Carolina, in California, in Florida with some of the hurricanes has often been a disaster. And it's not because we don't have good people at FEMA, it's because bureaucratic red tape and garbage prevents the rapid deployment of resources to the people who need it most.
But the states are now going to have to do this themselves?
The president is trying to encourage us to reform the way that we deliver emergency response in a way that gets resources to the people who need it.
So don't take him literally, is what you're saying.
We should take the president at his word that FEMA needs desperate reform, because it does. Margaret, when I went to North Carolina as VP-elect, but before we were sworn in, people would talk about how FEMA would get resources, food, medicine, water, to a warehouse, but then would have no plan to get it from the warehouse to the people in the mountains who were literally starving and thirsting to death. Mm-hmm. We can do so much better, and under Donald Trump's leadership, we will.
But they were.
These interviews with like Face the Nation and things like that, they press so hard. You would never see them press so hard if it was a Joe Biden. Joe Biden actually probably would never do an interview like this. Yeah, I agree with you, Patrick. Ignacio says business people are effective. That's that's the biggest thing, right? Is with particular business decisions are not based off of emotion. They're based off of the total metric of moving a particular company, whether that's a Fortune 500 company or, a small business company. The decisions that an individual makes, a CEO makes, is not based off of emotion. It's based off of actual facts. I see some banter going back and forth in the chat regarding, Starbucks prices are going to go up and things like that. Honestly, like Starbucks sucks. But I prefer local coffees and local grown things, local coffee shops and things like that. But CEOs are meant to make decisions off of strategic metrics, not emotions. Pete Hegseth visited this was his first visit at the Pentagon. This is absolute fantastic news. Pete Hegseth confirms that he's reinstating military members who were kicked out for refusing the C-19 jab. This is great news. This is amazing news.
And today there are more executive orders coming that we fully support on removing DEI inside the Pentagon, reinstating troops who were pushed out because of COVID mandates, Iron Dome for America. This is happening quickly. And as the Secretary of Defense, it's an honor to salute smartly, as I did as a junior officer and now as the Secretary of Defense, to ensure these orders are complied with rapidly and quickly. Every moment that I'm here, I'm thinking about the guys and gals in Guam, in Germany, in Fort Benning and Fort Bragg, on missile defense sites and aircraft carriers. Our job is lethality and readiness and warfighting. We're going to hold people accountable. I know the chairman agrees with that. The lawful orders of the President of the United States will be executed inside this Defense Department swiftly and without excuse. We will be no better friend to our allies and no stronger adversary to those who want to test us and try us. So, Mr. Chairman, thanks for welcoming me today. I look forward to serving the troops, the warriors of this department. It's the honor of a lifetime, and we're going to get to work.
Let's get these people reinstated. Let's get these folks reinstated. Let's get them back. Let's get them back. Let's get them their back pay, too. They've been out for 4 years. 4 years. Searching for jobs for 4 years. Patrick Hennessy says, let's freaking go. Let's go. MAGA, make America strong again. Absolutely. Stacy says, yeah, you're right. Overpriced crap. Talking about Starbucks. Starbucks does suck, and people that go there are on the bandwagon. You know, there's only a few times that I'll go if I'm at an airport. If I'm at an airport, because it's the only coffee shop at the airport, I honestly prefer either to make my coffee at the house, either make my own coffee at the house, or go to local coffee shops. At least here in Vegas, there's a lot, way better coffee shops. They use better beans. They roast their own stuff. It's just a lot better. It's better. But I would prefer to make it at home because I can make a cup of coffee at home for like 40 cents versus paying $7 and some change for some coffee. It's crazy to me. So expensive. It's so strong. You know, you can make a small cup of coffee that fits into a medium and a large cup. You pay a large, basically, that fits into a small cup. Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? They don't use good beans. This is a total tangent, but they don't use good beans. They don't use good beans, and I think they. I don't think they know how to make a good cup of coffee. It's crap. It sucks. You get headaches. It's crappy coffee, and I think they burn the stuff. I think last time that I went, I felt like they burned the espresso shots. Rob says Arnie's delusional. Oh, meanwhile, we got all these companies. We got Target. We got Costco. Target is announced rolling back these DEI programs. Costco said, no, we're keeping them. But Target says we're rolling back the DEI programs.
News. Target announcing it is rolling back diversity, equity, and inclusion programs at the company. In a memo to employees, the Minneapolis-based company says it will end its 3-year DEI goals, stop reports to external diversity-focused groups, and end a program focused on carrying more products from Black or minority-owned businesses. The decision follows President Trump's executive orders almost immediately after his inauguration to end the government's DEI programs. NBC's Brian Chung joining us now with that. Brian, this is a pretty significant change of direction for Target, right? Walk us through the company's history with DEI and suddenly a turnaround?
Yeah, Tom, as you outlined there, Target rolling back a number of their DEI policies and announcement today. And in a memo that a chief executive officer in the high ranks of Target sending to employees today, they described the reason for making these DEI changes as, quote, the result of the evolving external landscape. And you can imagine what that external landscape.
You know what's at Target? Starbucks.
Entails. It is, of course, the new president wanting to roll back DEI within the federal government and a lot of these mounting challenges against other companies that we've seen in the last few months with regards to their DEI policies. But I want to point out, this is a pretty remarkable turn for a company, Target, that is based in Minneapolis. As you recall, that is the city where George Floyd was murdered in 2020. And Target at the time was one of the first companies to really go out and in a full-throated manner defend their efforts to try to boost DEI policies. At the time, CEO Brian Cornell, saying, quote, that could have been one of...
Did y'all ever look at the autopsy report from that George Floyd situation? That dude was hemped up.
My Target team members. And then now here you have this announcement today, Tom, that they're rolling back those policies. It really does speak to the environment that we're in today.
Can you drill down on that? Because we have seen several companies kind of reversing course here, right? Are they reading the tea leaves for the culture nationwide, the pop culture or Main Street USA, or are they responding to pressure from President Trump?
Yeah, well, it's not necessarily directly a function of President Trump. You could argue that a lot of these pressures have actually been coming from the corporate sector and a lot of kind of activist groups, even in the months leading up to the election. But when you look at names like Harley Davidson, names like Walmart, names like McDonald's, these are companies that have pared back their DEI policies. But I want to point out it's not the case at every company. Just yesterday, Costco had a shareholder vote where they voted down a proposal to pare back their policies. And Tom, that vote was 98% against change.
So these are companies that are supporting DEI: Apple, Peloton, JP Morgan, Macintosh, and Costco.
Changing and rolling back their policies. So very much an open battleground in the DEI space, at least in corporate America.
You know people are going to be pissed. Target. Rolling back their DEI means you get a job based on merit, not based on skin color or hitting a particular metric on the DEI employment statistic pie chart. Ignacio says most people that defend liberals online are paid. Yep. Yeah. Putting people lives at risk over coffee is a stupid argument. That's funny, man. Oh, Catherine says VP Vance and Byron for 2028. Yeah, I think so too. McDonald's makes excellent coffee. I've never had McDonald's coffee. I've never had What do you guys think about the rolling back of some of these companies with the DEI hires? Keep an eye on all these companies dropping DEI. They're just dropping the external marketing, but keeping the ideology as corporate culture. That might be true. That might be true, 100%. That might be true. Openly stating like, hey, we're going to remove the DEI culture, but then still have their internal pie chart of how many Asians, how many blacks, how many whites, how many Indians, how many females, how many males, whatever the situation is on their internal pie chart. You're like, wow, we have too many Asian cashiers. Yep, absolutely, Catherine. Yeah, that autopsy report is, check it out. Check it out if you guys haven't seen it. Check out that autopsy report. Yeah, what do you guys think about these? And then what about these companies that said they're not going to support these DEI hires here, or not support the rolling back of DEI? We're in some interesting times here. We are in some interesting times. I'm just running through the chat. You guys are hilarious, man. Oh, man. All right. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got in the chat. It's illegal to hire on race. They'll be sued. Yeah. Yeah. They've been doing it. Sad. All right. Let's see what else we got in the chat. Okay, awesome. I'm gonna jump on out of here. I'd love to know you guys' thoughts on these DEI programs and Tom Homan taking care of these illegal migrants, breaking ground in Chicago, then moving across these sanctuary cities. And DT telling Gustavo, he said, Gustavo, you're taking these migrants. You're taking these migrants. Colombia has the most useless vice president just because she's a woman, black, and supposedly humble. Supposedly humble. Yeah. Stacey says, that's why we love Tyson. Thank you so much. You got a great bunch of mods and peeps. Oh, man. Yeah, shout out to the mods. Shout out to the mods in the chat. I appreciate all the moderators in the chat. You guys are awesome. And then I want to give a huge shout out to everybody in the live chat. In the live chat. This is, I'm going to jump on out of here. I'm going to jump on out. I'll be back later today. Yeah, drop your comments down below. If you're catching this on the replay, type in replay in the comment section down below. Again, shout out to everybody in the chats. Shout out to all the moderators. And yeah, drop your comments down below. Smash the like button. Smash the like button if you kindly would. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Chat soon, guys. You guys rock.